Yes, good evening, everyone, and welcome to United Sauce and Wingers. My name is Dominic, and tonight we have a show for you. We have a show for you because it's never a dull moment with Manchester United. It's never one of those things like, oh, nothing's happening. Let's just make some ice cream because it's more exciting than Manchester. No, there's so much going on. There's so much to discuss. We've got to talk about this Big Six debate. And I need to hear from you guys. I need to know what you think about this because I'm seeing so much on Twitter. We can't beat the Big Six. I've got my thoughts. Sean's got his thoughts. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about Luke Shaw and this faff, this cover-up, this flicking FBI, CIA cover-up by the flicking government of football. And we also need to talk about Crystal Palace. I want to finish off on Crystal Palace because we need to win that game. There's no two ways about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the road to 500 subscribers. So don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new. We've got some guests coming in as well shortly. We've got Aiden, that you guys know already, and we've got a special guest as well. So we've got UTD Henry from United District. So he'll be coming on, giving us our thoughts as well. But for now, let's go. Sean, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's good to be back. Obviously, been away for a little while. I wasn't too well, but yeah, feeling good again, back on top form. So big up everybody and big up yourself, man. Congrats on the new arrival as well.
Oh, mate, I appreciate it, man. Eppy's been so nice about that. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. How do you feel better? Did you have some peppermint tea or orange juice? What we did?
You know what? The peppermint tea, enough peppermint tea with the aid of some antibiotics. So we're good.
Nice, man. Mate, that's good, man. You know what, right? We're in a good spot at the moment in terms of me and you. And we had a long conversation, guys. Me and Sean, this is off air. There's nothing was happening. And we had a phone conversation for an hour and a half about just Manchester United. It was ridiculous. I was eating my dinner, talking to Sean. I was like, what am I doing in my life? This is what Manchester United has done to us. Sean, I know you couldn't make the match reaction yesterday, but really, really quickly, how did you find yesterday in terms of the results?
Do you know what? The overriding sense that I felt after that game is frustration. But to be honest with you, it's frustration, but not at the fact, at the results, because it's not like I don't expect the results that we got. What we're seeing on the pitch is nothing that I'm really shocked or surprised about. I feel as though, it's kind of the results that we're getting are a result of where we are as a team at the minute. We're not a bad side. We're a much improved side. But we're not quite at the levels where we need to be and where I feel like everybody wants us to be. Yeah. And I accept that. I accept that in terms of the progression and the stage of development of where we are. So, yeah, it's frustrating. You can see, yesterday I felt like it was a bit of a poor performance offensively. I felt there were, some positives in the way that we pressed and the way that we defended and the work rate and the defensive side of the game. I felt we did well, but I felt like the quality was missing. Yeah. And yeah, I think that was the most disappointing factor for me was, there were chances for us to execute the game plan, but we just lacking that final bit of quality at certain times. And I just feel that's a sign of where we are as a team at the moment, man.
You know what that reminds me of, Sean? It reminds me of your love life, man, your relationships, because you're so picky, man. And I always think you always tell me, yeah, she's the one. And then it just doesn't work out, man. It just lacks that bit of quality.
What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about, man?
It just lacks that quality. You come back to me, you say, no, what, man? It's just something's
not there. She's not quite doing it. Yeah.
I can't put I don't know if it's a DOF we need. I don't know if it's the board, but the relationship, it's just not there. And you know what it is, right? We talked about it yesterday, man, when we had check that video out, the match reaction for the Chelsea game. We talked about about how it feels like it's just sucked the life out of us. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like who are we anymore? Like I tweeted out earlier and said we can't really say we're Manchester United anymore because that rhetoric seems a bit too. We're Manchester United. We're thinking about the old days of Scholes and Roy Keane and when we were expected to win every competition we were in. We're not that person. We're not that people anymore. We're not the team that demands that as soon as you get in the changing room, the other people in the other rooms are like, oh gosh, we've lost this game already. We've lost this game even before we started.
But Dom, I totally agree with you, man. I feel like that is the overriding sense of, it's almost like you say, a loss of identity. We're used to going into these games, any game, whether it's home or away, against any opposition, we expect to go there and be able to win. That is what we've grown up on. Any fan around our ages or a bit older, that is what we've known Man United to be. And I feel like, yeah, people, that identity is gone. People are holding on to it, and there's a frustration of that we're not able to do that. And bro, you only have to look at the team sheet. Like I did, obviously, when you asked me to pick the starting lineups before this, I went on to Sky Sports and I was looking at our team lineup for the game yesterday.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at it, I was like, objectively, I was like, look at the team that we've got. Look at the 11 individuals that we've lined out.
Yeah.
That team is never going to win a Premier League title, and nor should it. It shouldn't, because the players aren't good enough.
How did Leicester do it then? Just quickly, because I want to get to the comments, but how did Leicester do it then?
That was a freak season, bro. It was a freak season. Look at the points tally that they did. Obviously, they had some quality players in there. They had a little bit of stardust that was sprinkled on there, hence why a lot of their players from that season got moves to bigger clubs. But ultimately, that was a one-off freak season.
And you know what, Sean? Like, honestly, obviously, me and you go back and forth. But I agree with you, man. I agree with you, Sean. I don't know if this... I know you're ill. I'm so glad you're better now. But maybe that's giving you a new perspective on life, man. Because
don't behave, mate.
I'm joking. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for helping us get through I called Manchester United a football pandemic because we just don't know what's happening. Yeah. But I hope everybody's safe and well. Let's get to comments. So, Oyo Savaloy, yes, upside down is here.
Upside down was cracking.
Hey, everyone. Since the loss to Tottenham, Ollie has gone super defensive with McFred, maybe out of fear for his job as Pochettino. We always said that. We always say that when he plays the Chuckle Brothers, Lindelof and Maguire, we know that they're decent centre-backs in the right system and with the right people next to them. But we have to then make a fusion half CDM of McTominay and Fred to make one CDM, which is not good enough. He obviously doesn't rate Matic anymore. He doesn't play him at all. Only time he plays him is at FIFA. So he's lost. He's gone. Carl Lewis, the one time we've won against the Big Six this season was when VDB started in 10. Maybe there's something in it, interesting. Maybe there's not, but I'd like to try that experiment again against City next weekend. Honestly,
which game is he talking about? The FA Cup game, isn't he?
Mate, we will never see VDB against City. The way Ollie plays, I might be wrong, but based on his track record and how he comes up against these teams, if we play VDB, it'll be due to an injury. Just because of what Ollie doesn't believe in him. Ian's in the house. Yes. Don't forget to smash the like, share the video, and subscribe. Thanks so much, Ian. I appreciate you, man. We'll be going. Big Sean is back. Nice. Missed you on the channel. It's good to see you.
Yeah, big up, Theodore.
They've missed your positivity, Sean. El Frank is in the house. Talking facts, positive. This is it. Guys, we're going to keep it real today. And the most important thing is we're going to talk about the Big Six. And I've been scouring Twitter, trying to find all these different views and understand it, because I want to just end the debate here. And that's why we're going to bring some guests on now to basically get their views and see, are we overreacting? What should we do in terms of where we are, where we're going to be? Because this is a massive transition and inflection point in our season. There's not a lot of games to go, so we've got to make it count. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to bring in the boys. So we've got UTD Henry and UTD Aiden in the house. Let's get the boys in. Boom and boom. What's going on, fellas?
Not bad, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, mate. All good, mate. Thank you so much for coming on, pal.
No worries, mate. Thank you for having me.
Mate, and Aiden's in there growing his hair? All right, my man.
A little bit. Yeah, the light makes it look a little bit better. Yeah, but I'm trying, but yeah, I'm not doing too bad.
Mate, everything good with you, yeah?
Pardon?
Everything good with you?
Yeah. I've bagged. I'm a bit tired. I haven't really slept much, but yeah, I'm not.
Mate, I haven't slept either, mate. I've got a flicking 3-day-old baby, and she just the way she's going, "Daddy," but in cry language. Flicking love her though. Love her to bits. Love her to bits, guys. So what we're gonna do? Thank you so much for coming on. Right, I've seen on Twitter today, Frank Khalid. I think he tweeted it about this Big Six, and Henry, right? You're from what? You're from United District, right? And you hold your own podcast as well. And you're trying to see different views across everything that's happening and try to be, I don't know, like objective and not just be biased and so forth. So it's good to get your views, man.
Yeah.
Right now, we're in a situation where we can't beat the Big Six. And I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know how it's going to improve, but we can't beat the Big Six. What's your first views on, are we overreacting? Or is it a situation where, no, this needs some serious improvement, and can Ollie actually do it with us? How you feeling?
I think, that it's always a bit of a balance, really. I think, when things start to go a bit wrong, obviously I think the United fan base has become, iconically attached to maybe, perhaps going a bit overboard, especially with recent years, perhaps because of our sort of previous expectations. Obviously, we've enjoyed so much success that now when it's obviously got a bit south, we don't know how to deal with it, and we sort of lose our heads, I think, to an extent. And obviously, the Arsenal fan base has had a sort of a similar problem amongst themselves. But no, I think, obviously there is a bit of a problem there, and there's something to talk about there, because obviously, the results, they're there for everyone to see. They haven't been impressive. Obviously, the lack of goals has been poor. I think, defensively in the top 6 games, if we're going to take anything away, apart from obviously the freak sort of Spurs result, I think we've been pretty solid. And, I thought same yesterday, Maguire and Lindelof, I thought dealt with Giroud very well, which was obviously good to see, because I definitely have my worries about Giroud dunking on Lindelof.
Honestly.
You say that, he should have scored. He should have scored. Giroud should have scored.
Yeah, perhaps.
No,
but
should have scored. No, how are you feeling? Because we're going to get the results up in a second, but Henry's put it really well. It's one of those situations where you can take positives and negatives from it. But for you, I feel like I know what you're going to say. Tell me what you think.
I'm not really frustrated with it or angry with it. I'm kind of used to it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I ask people, I say, Liverpool, when we won, Sociedad when we won, they were both counter-attacking games, really. They were quite open. Remember how Rashford was skinning Phillips, and obviously you had the Southampton result. But I struggled to find a game since Villa that we actually played well for like the majority of the game. A lot of it's just slow, like, unorganized football. So I'm not really surprised at it. I mean, we didn't lose, which is, I guess, good, but it's just the same old, really. So nothing that I haven't really said before. It didn't look organized, didn't look like we knew what we were doing. We were all right for the last 5 minutes of the second half, but usual stuff, really.
Yeah, this is what I said. Like I said in the match yesterday, I said I feel like the Manchester United is just sucking the life out of us. I said I likened it to a children's birthday party when the boy, he's 4, he's got all his balloons, all his toys, he's having the time of his life. He's chosen Spider-Man cake. He turns up to the hall and no one's there, and he's like, "What nonsense is this? Like, what we're seeing at this club that we love and that we've grown up to, and then we have." All we think about is just United, Fred the Red. We think about the freaking music, the stadium, the smell, the aura.
Fred the Red, look.
And Fred the stinking Red. I'm thinking about, man. I've got one in my freaking boys' room, mate. Fred the Red, mate. At the moment, he's behind freaking Mickey Mouse, because I don't want to think about that right now. So, but I have got Fred the Red. It's just, where are we? Sean, are people overreacting about the Big Six, or do you think we just need to take it for what it is?
So, I feel like it depends on how you look at it. I haven't really been on Twitter and looking at what people are talking about. What's the general sentiment that's coming out?
Mate, I will tell you the general sentiment right now, mate. We're in a situation, right, where this is what people are going around, okay? They put Ollie's there looking gloom. Ollie's come back and said after the game yesterday, 100%, we need to score more goals. It's a fact. I'm sorry, anybody could say that. Do you know what I mean? It's not that's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science.
We need to score more goals, right? If you look at our history against top 6, and we say top 6 because Arsenal ain't top 6, okay? But we've got 6-1.
Top 6 plus Arsenal.
Yeah, plus Arsenal. You know what? I don't even believe in the top 6 anymore. Whoever's playing good. We've got 6-1 against Tottenham, 0-0 against Chelsea, Arsenal when we lost to a penalty, we lost there. Man City 0-0, Liverpool 0-0, Arsenal 0-0, and then Chelsea 0-0. Right. People looking at that would think, where is the ambition? And I'll tell you what Twitter's saying, Sean. Twitter's saying, on one side, this is poor. This is poor. Where's the ambition? Where's the fight? Where's the risk? Where's the bravery from Ollie and the management team? We've buckled at 4 semi-finals, and we still can't seem to beat the top Big Six. What is it going? And the people that already have agendas are loving this. They're thinking to themselves, this is perfect. This is the fuel to get out this manager who we don't think is good enough. On the other side, you've got other people saying, wait a minute, this is showing progress. We're actually keeping clean sheets. We're not actually losing so many games like we did last season against the Big Six. We're basically, obviously, it's easier to try and fix to score. That's easier if you think about it, rather than leaking defense. It's easier to try and score. That's what people are saying. Also, people are saying that we're second in the league. So why does it matter? And also, another thing they're saying is that Chelsea haven't got a good sort of record. So they drew to us again, lost to Liverpool, drew to Spurs, lost to Leicester, lost to Arsenal, and lost to Man City and Everton. It doesn't look good for Chelsea either. So that's the kind of consensus. I want to just end this debate in this stream. We've got Aidan, we've got Henry, we've got yourselves. What should we be thinking as fans? How should we be thinking? Man?
So in that context, I feel like, yeah, everything's got to have context. And I feel like if you look at, you got to break down the individual matches and the individual's performances to actually, you can't just look at the blanket results and be like, okay, because if you look at the blanket results, like you said, it's clear we haven't won any matches and we're not scoring any goals.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't take a genius to work that out. I mean, right off the Tottenham game straight away, because that was in the one of the first games we had, the players weren't fit. So I think, you can forget that one straight away. We know there was mitigating factors as to why that result went the way it was. Chelsea came to Old Trafford, parked the bus in that game at the 0-0. If you remember, we were the only team that was going to ever win that game. So I don't feel like you can accuse Ollie of not going out to win it and trying to put enough emphasis, because clearly he did. Arsenal, again, that was a pretty much a 50-50 match. Wasn't really much in it, not much going on, and we lost to a harsh penalty, which I thought at the time, Pogba stupidity. The next game, what we're looking at there, Manchester City, again, we saw something different from them. We actually competed more in terms of an even kill. They didn't come and dominate us in terms of possession. I think they probably still shaded it, but we were competing on a more even kill. And we saw for the first time Pep come to Old Trafford and play two defensive midfield players. For me, he's never done that. That was a mark of respect in terms of he knows what we can do in the transitions and how we hit them so many times last season. And he came really, I feel like Pep came to Man United to play for a point in that game. Liverpool, again, if you look when we went away to Anfield last season and how we got absolutely played off the park. They scored us. It was 2-0. We lost the game 2-0. This season, we go there. And again, if anyone was going to win that game, we had the best chances. We had two clear-cut chances in that last 15 minutes to go and get the victory. Well, actually, sitters, really. It was a criminal miss from Cavani and also from Bruno. So again, if anyone was going to win, that was us. Arsenal, again, end-to-end, again, pretty even game. But again, if you look at the chances we had in that game, again, Cavani missing sitters from in the 6-yard box, we should have won that game. So I feel like, and then Chelsea happened yesterday. I think that was probably one of the poorest performances of the lot. And I feel like we underperformed attacking-wise. We didn't really create anything yesterday. And I feel like Bruno had an off day, and I feel like there was a lack of cohesion. So I feel as though it is a bit of an overreaction once you break down the actual individual matches. Yes, we know the results aren't good enough. Yes, if we want to go on and win the title, we need to be going out and winning some of these games against the big six. That's the little transition that we need to make going forward. But I feel if you look at from last season, the way we were going into these games, yes, we won a few more of them, but people are now saying, okay, if you look at the way that we won them, it was sitting back and hitting teams on the counter-attack. And people are saying this year, we don't want to play like that. So either you want to win those games, right, and find a way to win them and play counter-attacking football, or you want to try and find a way where you can have a little bit more, compete on a bit more even playing field, and then turn those victories, those draws into wins, which I feel like is a trajectory we're on. But you can't have it both ways. If we're winning on a counter-attack and complain and say we can't play like that, or we don't want to see that style of football, when it's changing and we are competing more, the results aren't coming yet, but we're not losing. We're getting a solid foothold in these games. The next step now is improving the quality and turning those draws into wins, which I feel comes down to two things, really. It's a lack of quality in the final third, which I think was highlighted so much times yesterday. You only have to look at the chance McTominay had. You put any player with a bit of quality, attacking quality, a De Bruyne, put KDB in that position, he's whipping that across and we win the game, right? So I don't think it's for a lack of system or a lack of certain things. I feel it's a lack of quality and also a lack of mentality that is costing us to be able to go out and win these games at the moment.
You know what? It's a well said argument. It's articulated well. I understand what you're saying. It's a situation where we used to lose these games. Now we're bringing it 0-0. Now, do we press on and do it? I guess the other side, playing devil's advocate, would be like, but can we press on? Can we press on with Ollie? Can we press on with Manchester United? Are we being brave enough? Could these zeros and these draws, become 1-0, 2-0 if we were brave enough, if we made subs earlier, if we played with a different formation, a different strategy, if we had a better coaching. All these things come to, you know what, I'm going to use their phrase, fine margins. And the thing about I hate about fine margins is that, wait a minute, I don't want it to come down to fine margins. I want it to come down that we make our own future and we carve our own scores. I don't want it to be like, if only if Scott McTominay made that. I don't care about only if we had the penalty. I know it comes down to fine margins, but the biggest teams across the whole season, they make their own future. Henry, man, how are you feeling? Obviously, you've heard everything that Sean said, and he's being positive about it, 100%. And there's obviously other people that are going to take this other way. When you look at these results, how do you feel about it?
I think Sean's hit the nail on the head, really. I think, there's a lot of people who go a bit hyperbolic with it and go a bit sort of aggressive and extremely reactionary and say, Ollie's got no system, we've got no idea, the team's crap, sell everyone, and, things like that. But I think, especially yesterday, I think it's an example, there is a structure in place. You don't just go to Stamford Bridge and get a draw and against a Thomas Tuchel Chelsea side, with no system at all. There's obviously a plan and a structure in place that's doing well to an extent. I mean, I am playing devil's advocate to an extent because obviously that's on the screen there. You can see how many points have been dropped, but bar the 6-1, I mean, it's not terrible, is it? I mean, obviously the Arsenal game, the two Arsenal games, I'd say maybe outliers in that. And maybe Chelsea at home under Lampard, you'd expect us to do a bit more there. But I think, the fact that we're second in the league and we've got all these points here that if we crack something, are available to go and get, I think that's a very positive thing. I just think, in the past sort of season or so, we've sort of changed as a side. I think, we sort of last season or sort of season before that, even we were underdogs to an extent, and it benefited us in these type of games where we'd go into them and sides would open up a bit for us. James and Rashford and Martial, that front three. Yeah. The game at the Etihad a couple of years ago where City completely opened up and got sort of caught napping in a sense. And I think now we've got that bit more quality and teams are a little bit more tentative. But I think obviously things do need to change in these big games. I'm not sure what that'd be. Maybe that extra signing, that Jadon Sancho, that extra bit of quality, maybe a slight tweak of sort of attacking structure. But I think there's a lot of points there available to get, and the fact that we're second already, I think there are positives to be taken.
I freaking love this. I think right? Both of you said this, articulated so well that God, we've got to understand where we are. I know it's rubbish. I know it's not where we should be, but this is what it is. This is what it is. But at the same time, I understand that we can be emotional. We can think about, wait, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. And it's not just these results that are not good enough. It's what we're seeing on the pitch. It's the decision-making that we're seeing from the management, from coaches, from Glazers. And it's filtering into these results that we see right now. And this is just everything that's accumulated to basically being rubbish against a top six. And many of these games we should have won. We should have won this game. And I know that's a really good positive, but looking at both sides, why didn't we win the game? Why did we not win the game? What the comments saying? No team looked like they're going to score, but at least Chelsea looked like they had the plan to try and score. This is what people are thinking. People are thinking, come on, we need to see that ambition there. Why didn't Ollie use Bayer yesterday? It would have allowed us to play a high line. Unless he's been saved at AC Milan. You know what? I'll never know, really. And I don't think we'll ever know. Ollie's... I said
he rates Lindelof higher than him. It's simple. We can't keep saying that every single show.
Yeah, he rates Lindelof, but we know Bailly's better. So you can keep saying it. People saying Ollie's setting up not to lose so he could just keep his job, don't want to take any risk. Yeah, people are saying that West Ham is the best team in London at the moment. Oh, Jesus, have mercy. I never thought I'd be reading that one out. Carl Lewis, positives, we were one dumb penalty and a red card away from being unbeaten in all 7 games. Negatives, we are not Everton. This is not something worth celebrating. 100%. The 2 games you have lost, Arsenal and Spurs, you have been destroyed and totally outplayed. The other results are okay.
Spoken like a true gooner.
Yeah, definitely a gooner there, mate. You ain't gonna get part. Mate, you gotta wake up pretty early to fool me, mate. I tell you. Sam Field. When Jose was second, everyone was complaining. Despite also winning 2 trophies, Ollie has none and is second. Yet this goes unnoticed. The football was no different. Jose and Ollie has better players. Interesting. That one. Let me come back out of this. Right, Aidan. On this point, right. When Jose was second, everyone was complaining. Despite also winning 2 trophies, Ollie has none and is second. Yet this goes unnoticed. The football was no different to Jose and Ollie has better players. What do you say about that, man?
Well, it's true, really, isn't it? Like we know this is true. I mean, like I'm always of the sense of like I'm very much like you can't get onto Ollie too much in terms of the sense of like if he hasn't got the players he wants, that is a factor. And I do think it's a factor. You know, I always think that, especially with your spine, you should have 2 or 3 attempts over like a 4 or 5 year period as a manager to be able to buy them. Like Pep sort of had 2 or 3 attempts at centre back. But to be honest, like, has the squad, a lot of people want to say the squad's got better. A lot of people want to say Ollie's improved players. A lot of people want to say we play better football. But why isn't that being reflected in results? That we've got less points now than we did in 18, 19 and 17, 18. We've also got a worse defensive record. You're supposed to have better players. We haven't come off the back of any trophies, you know, and still the gap with C. So I don't, like, empirically, I don't see what's changed. And also on the pitch, it doesn't look like it's any better in terms of the football. You know, you can use results such as counter-attacking results, but I think it's very easy to get embroiled in, you know, Martial, Rashford running at defences and thinking that means we've played good for 90 minutes. So yeah, I think the results are a massive issue. And I also think that micro-analysing football is indicative of the fact that we're not doing well. Yeah. When you start looking, like, with all due respect, Sean, when you start looking at results and say, hey, this happened in this result, this happened in this result, this happened in this result, you just sound like you're coming up with excuses. Okay, well, hypothetically, what are you saying, that we were on level with them? We're much better than Arsenal. We have a much better team than Arsenal. Arsenal could have had 2 or 3 goals in that game versus Aubameyang missed that sitter in front of goal. So I can go into little details to say, actually, the other teams could have scored 2 or 3. But I'm not going to, because it's not about micro details, it's about the bigger picture. And I feel like all that's happened is now Ole's being asked to coach an expansive team versus big teams. He can't do it. Because, like you said, we need a little bit of quality. We need a Kevin De Bruyne. We've got Bruno Fernandes. We've got Paul Pogba. You know, 1 minute it's
Rashford. Pogba wasn't playing yesterday.
1 second.
Aiden.
One second. What? 1 minute it's Pogba and Rashford aren't finishing their chances. The next minute it's Lindelof and Maguire. So which is it? Is it the defence or is it the attack? Which is it? Which is the issue? Because I think people need to make their mind. If it's both, then it's the coach. You can't say that after all the money you've spent, all the players we have, if the defence, midfield and attack is the issue, then it's not partly the coach.
Henry, you can, and I can address that
point. And Sean, come on that. Aiden's basically saying, if it's one bit and we fix that, great. But if it's the other bit, wait a minute, like, we're getting leaks all over this roof.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, are we just going to get wet, or what? Like,
just going to get wet, Rob. Yeah.
It's just going to get wet. Mate. What do you think about that, Henry?
No, I think it's a good point. It's a very good point to be had, because obviously the attack and the defence, and even all over the pitch has caught scrutiny off the fans. You know, people week in, week out. Some people have a go at Rashford. Some people have had a go at Greenwood. You know, De Gea week in, week out. You know, everyone's getting a bit of stick. And obviously, that's what happens at a club like United. As I say, high standards. Everyone's going to be scrutinised with each and every detail. But I think, it's tough to say whether it's down to management. Some of it, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know how they're being coached on the training pitch. What's been put in place, etc. I think most people would agree that. I think the Lindelof-Maguire partnership is, I don't want to say beyond coaching, but it is. They don't look compatible to me, to be honest. I think everyone would agree that we need to go and sign someone better to partner Maguire, and obviously Eric Bailly is he shows when he plays that that's what's needed. And obviously it's a shame that he can't stay fit consistently. But with regards to the front line as well, I think there are still just some inconsistencies in that front line. Martial for me, I think, has been dismal in previous weeks to the point where I've almost lost hope with him completely. Rashford, fantastic in spurts, and he's obviously a top class player, but he's still not 100% there yet. Obviously he's got a massive ceiling. I think when he gets consistent, he's going to be a real force to contend with, and obviously his numbers are magnificent anyway, so that's good to see. Obviously, and we still don't have a proper right winger, so I think there's still some gaps there that need to be filled before we can go and judge the manager completely. But I'd agree, there is some doubts there, and understandably so.
So Henry, on that point, and I'll bring in Sean. Sean, I'm probably going to bring you on. I just want to get Henry's thoughts on this. If we do fix all the flicking leaks, right? If we do, like, we're making a really nice soup, right? And we got that, the flicking sweet potato there. We got that, a bit of garlic, man, and we're getting that nice here. And we get all the ingredients. There's no literally excuse for Ollie right now, right? So literally, we get a right winger, we get a centre back, we get a CDM. Martial gets back in form. Literally, he's got to deliver, right? Yeah,
100%. I think but I think he's earned the right to be backed in that sense. And I think the same way Mourinho did. Mourinho went and got a couple, maybe a few, depends how you look at it. He'd say 3 trophies in his first season, and he obviously got back that season, finished second, then was not backed properly at all. And obviously Solskjaer finished third last season. You got to step back and say, with that squad, he did a brilliant job. I struggle to see how people would argue with that. To finish third with that squad last season, that was Andres Pereira until January was playing regularly. Jesse Lingard was playing regularly. We go and finish third. He deserves to be backed for the next couple of seasons. And we're second right now. I mean, if we go on and finish, second, that's progress from last season again. He deserves to be backed again, to the point where, we'd have to try and bridge that gap. And I think, he deserves that. And obviously then if he does get back, he doesn't perform, it's hard to defend that. He would have got what he's wanted and deserved. But
Yeah, mate. Can I hear you guys? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Really appreciate you joining in. We've got Aiden here. We've got a special guest, United Henry. Follow these guys on Twitter. You've probably followed them anyway. United District, good guys. I really appreciate you coming on. You know what? This is freaking. I'm loving this. I'm freaking loving this. I was just thinking all day. I was just feeding my daughter milk from a bottle, and I was like, "This is my life. I love it." But this is like a nice little. This is my respite. This is where I come alive now. I want to get into the comments here, just see how people are thinking. Sam Field. Oh, Sam, I haven't seen you come. Thanks for joining, man. You're saying some really cool points. This one's going to light the fire. I think Sean could take this one. Sean, we have a relegated manager, Burnley and Holden goalkeeping coach, a 4-time relegated captain, novices in Fletcher. Novices in Fletcher, McKenna, and Carrick, a terrible coach, a crap board. This is Everton standard. What do you say to that, Sean?
Bro, I can't disagree with anything that he's saying, right? Everything he's saying there, most of it's facts, right? Most of it's facts, most of it's true. Yeah. Yet people or a lot of fans want to blame everything on the manager when he's operating with all of that behind him. We all know the problems at Man United are bigger. Yet I would flip that on its head and say, despite all of those issues, look what the manager has been able to achieve and the results he's been able to achieve under those conditions. Mate, it's ridiculous.
Sean should be in cell, mate.
It's ridiculous, right? Dom, and this is so I can completely agree with everything that guy just said. And I look at it, the way I look at it again is that we talk a lot about the mentality of our players. That guy touched on it as well in terms of the Maguire comments and all of that, right? We talk about the mentality of our players. We talk about the lack of quality in our players, right? And so for me, we can't then shift the direction onto the manager, onto the coach, right? Because go through that 11 yesterday, okay? McTominay, Aiden, I think a lot of people have question marks over his quality. Fred, I think a lot of people have question marks over his quality. Dan James, a lot of people have question marks over his quality.
He started James, bro.
There's question mark. Hold on. Let me finish now, right? Because we're going now. Dan James, Victor Lindelof. There's question marks over whether they're good enough. AWB, people question whether he's good enough. I'm not saying that's what I personally think, but a lot of people question, is he good enough to be our right back? David De Gea, question mark still over David De Gea. Is he good enough to take us where we want to be? Maguire, lots of question marks over him. Marcus Rashford, people, our fan base, the amount of stick and criticism he gets, that's 8 players out of 11, right? So what I'm saying is, if the fan base and people are questioning all of these players have been questioned whether they're good enough, right, to take us where we want to be. So then, how does that translate to you then expecting to go and dominate football matches when you haven't? When everybody's accepting the quality is not good enough. A manager is only as good as the tools as he's got at his disposal. So you swap those players out, Dom. So what? Yeah, let me finish my point and then I'll let you do your thing, right? You swap those players out with Gundogan, Rodri, just the two, because I know everyone hates McFred, right? So you swap Gundogan out and you put in Rodri and Gundogan for McFred. Our football changes instantly.
No,
the way we play football instantly. Yes, it does. Our passing accuracy and the way we keep possession changes instantly because of the way these players play football. And it's facts. If you want to check out the stats, check out the stats.
I hear you, Sean.
I've got the stats here.
Sean's trying to make up for not being in the streams a couple of times. He's getting it all out, man. He's basically saying if people want subtitles, what Sean just said, he basically said you can't build a house with like kids' toys. Like, you know, those baby hammers and stuff like that. You can't do that. And at the moment, we're playing with
what I'm also saying, Dom, in my words, is that you can't on the one hand criticize and say that 8 of our players aren't good enough, and then on the next flip side and say why are we not going out and dominating games?
Okay, you know what, Sean, thank you very much. Hey, I'm gonna bring it over to you, brother. What are you gonna say?
But as again, I haven't said that a lot of the players you've mentioned I've said aren't good enough. I don't want to start. You can't. Okay, for example, firstly, he chooses to start James over Greenwood. He chooses to do that. That's his choice. He also chooses.
Greenwood played yesterday, Aiden. So let's
Sean,
just no, but you got to be factual, man.
Hey,
You got to be factual, bro.
Sean, Aiden, let you speak, bro.
Yeah, but he's got to be factual, though, man. Come on.
Let him speak. Good.
Sean, I couldn't give you examples like, for example, such as Chelsea. I can give you where he played Mata and James. I can give you examples such as Liverpool, where he put Pogba on the wing to accommodate McFred. Yeah, he put Pogba on the wing to accommodate McFred.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling you, this is a fact.
Yeah.
You can't go out and say James is a problem, McTominay's a problem, Lindelof and Maguire's a problem when he's chose to start all of them. If Maguire's a problem, Wan-Bissaka is a problem, he bought them.
Play Williams,
Okay, bro, this is not what I'm saying. He bought Wan-Bissaka. He bought Maguire. He also chooses to start James. He also chooses to start McFred over Pogba and shifts Pogba onto the wing. He chooses not to start Greenwood. He chooses not to start Bailly. He chooses not to start Pogba at DM. I understand the De Gea thing. I do get that. But I think you're expecting me to think that we're going to have ridiculously intricate patterns and we're going to be winning the league. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for a basis of some good results. Also, you're saying we've made progress. We got 66 points in 18-19. Yeah, we got 66 points last year. That moved us up 3 places with the same points tally. Okay. Also, I'm telling you, so right now, yeah, we're averaging. We're going to hit 73 points at the end of the season. That's what we're averaging by the points we're getting. Okay. That would get you, I'm telling you, since 10 and 11, that would get you third, fifth, third, second. That's what it would get you. And that's after 2.5 years of Ollie being in. So I understand what you're saying about, we don't have the players X and Y, but you're also one of the advocates to say that Ollie's created a very good team and he's done a very good rebuilding job. So then if he is, why are they not good enough? But then if they're not good enough, why is he starting them? Do you know what I mean? If he was starting he was starting Pogba and Matic, and he was starting Greenwood, I'd have a bit more sympathy, but he's not. So I can't, like, De Gea I have sympathy for because it's not his fault. But I don't have sympathy for stuff.
All right, so just on what you said, right?
1 second, Sean, 1 second.
All right.
Guys, thank you so much for joining in. Don't forget to like, subscribe. This is interesting because we got Sean basically come out and saying, look, he's flicking playing with players that aren't good enough. We saw it with Scott McTominay, who could have made that pass. Yeah. Look, difficult pass, but we know the top quality players will make that pass.
Easy.
They'll do it in front. They'll whip it in. It would have been a goal. So Sean's saying, how can you blame Ollie and the managers when we haven't got the right tools? Aiden's coming and saying, no, but wait a minute. We might not have the right players, but we're not playing them in the right way. We're not playing them in the right positions, in the right formation. We all look. My mum flicking doesn't watch football. She'll send me a screenshot to think that she watches football and say, "Oh, how's the game, son?" She don't watch it, right? But she will know when we got to flick and start by. She knows that. She knows.
Yeah, she knows it.
When he's fit, he makes our defense better. It's a fact. It's Wakanda.
Yeah,
he makes our team better. But we know, and Sean said this to me. He knows that Ollie has his favourites. He likes Lindelof. So what Aiden's basically trying to say is, why is he a little bit stubborn in his way and approach? Why not try something else? Why are we playing James if you think Greenwood's better? Why are we not? Why are we always playing McFred when we know that sometimes we haven't got to be at defensive? I'm looking at both sides of it, right? Both sides of it, and I get both your sides. And this is what I want to talk about. And I want Henry to come in and look at both these freaking birthday cakes and tell me which one wins, right? 1 second. Let me just see what people are saying here. It's not Marshall's fault that Green and Rashford cut in and shoot all the time. When was the last time we looked to pass into strikers? Yeah, well, that's just how they play. Devin, Danny, what's going on, brother? Look at Rennie Mullerstein's CV before and after Manchester United, Saudi Arabia League football before United, and MLS after. Coaches' CV aren't always stellar before coming to a top club. Okay, so he's bigging up basically Carrick, McKenna, and Fletcher that they could become good. But I guess the other side of it is we haven't got time for someone to become good because we're trying to get.
We haven't, bro.
We haven't. The time is an element. Buggy Bites picking up. Well said, Sean. To you, last time that Rashford was coached well was under LVG. I agree with that. It's a different sort of player. Danny again. When Pogba struggles at 10, United fans who love him said our CMs weren't good enough to find him. Now they don't talk about the quality of the CMs. Another good point. I understand that, Carlos. Why does Ollie get disrespected so much? He's always overly disrespected when he's doing much better than the football, LVG and Jozo fossil football. You know what?
Yeah, I haven't said he's not. People assume that I said that Ollie's football is significantly worse than both of them. I've never said it is.
No.
I've said you could, but I said if you have a look at the squad that LVG had and you have a look at the squad Ole has, it should be a lot better than it is. And I think that's a perfectly valid argument. I think people think that I'm like, I detest Ole and I think the football's awful. Like, I don't think that.
No, you've never said that. No, you've never said that. You're looking at the sides of which a lot of people are looking at and saying, can we do better with what we have? That's basically what you're looking at.
Exactly, bro.
Can we make some good food? I don't know. I must be hungry. I keep doing the food allergies. Wow, big statements from Sean. We have a good team. We just need to inject mentality into their brains. Just look at what Fergie did. Yeah, we've played against Arsenal. I think we had like 8 centre backs or defenders on the pitch. We can do stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
It kind of lends to Aidan's point that why we're not doing better. Adam, what's going on, bro? He loaned Dallo. He claims to have input on transfers and choose ADWB. Sean, this is to your point. Regardless of preference and results, so many things he doesn't make sense. Henry, you've heard what Sean said. The tools aren't good enough for us to perform. Aidan said, okay, the tools aren't good enough, but we can use the tools in a better way and try it out and see if it's better. Where do you sit amongst all this, bro?
Well, I think, good points from both sides. It sounds like I'm sitting on the fence here, but I genuinely do think so. But I think, on the points point, just first of all, I think, points, I've always said, are only relative to the season which you get them.
Correct.
I think, so many instances where you can compare points tallies from different seasons. I think that's a bit unfair because you're just mixing up context and you're mixing up different factors coming into it. So I'd say, result, in that sense, I think, only relative to the season which you get them, and the points tally that we're on at the minute means that we're in second place in the league. Now, I know you talk about sort of the squad, you could be doing better with it. Where do you want us to be? We're second in the league. We're behind a really good City squad. Of course, we should have done better in the Champions League. That's one thing this season that I think has pulled us all down, and we'd all agree we should have got out of that group. That was poor. We're still in the FA Cup. We've obviously dropped down into the Europa League. Maybe could have done better in the League Cup. Obviously, another disappointing semi-final. And people have questions about that. I just think we're in a better place than maybe we're sort of making out. And you're sort of comparing it to the squad LVG had. LVG never finished second. I'm not saying we have finished second yet, but we're sort of comparing them and talking about the styles of football, etc. But the only one I think you can sort of fairly compare Ollie to is Mourinho in a way, because obviously it has taken us to a similar place. And obviously, I was a massive fan of Mourinho and, big fan of what he did at United. I think what he did at United was very underrated. But, we could finish this season with second and 2 trophies. I'm not saying it will happen, but I think, we're in February now. We're in March now, aren't we? We're still in this position where we're looking pretty positive. I mean, I think you've just got to be realistic with our expectations. And obviously there's a few different things to plug. I know you say, Aidan was sort of made a good point with, he picks Lindelof ahead of Bailly. But, there are reasons for those decisions. I mean, Bailly is so unreliable. As much as I love him and as much as we all love him, you can't expect to play him week in, week out. There's no point playing Bailly with Maguire and trying to build a substantial partnership with them when they're not going to be, Bailly's not going to be consistently fit.
That's a great shout. No. Yeah, that's a great shout.
Yeah, so I think, and there's obviously, knock-on effects as well with different players, and that's why he does certain things. And, as you say, plays Pogba out wide and things like that. But I think, you've just got to look back, sit back a bit and just think, we're not in a bad spot here. Let's see where the season goes. So I think, we have still got decent potential here.
You know what? That really well said. Nothing about where we are is positive. Just a whole lot of paper out of the cracks.
There is some positive.
Come on, bro.
You know what? Right?
Come on, bro.
I love hearing this.
There's always a positive in any situation. Why are you
giving Sean some fuel for the fire, bro? This guy
I know.
Half an hour.
Bro. I want to keep this conversation going because I think this has got legs, right? We're second in the league. We're closer to 9th than 1st. Jesus. LVG never finished second. LVG
this is what I'm saying. You can't compare them, bro.
LVG had players like Blackett, McNair, Varela, Wilson, Borth.
Guys, Pogba.
Jackson.
Matt, Ed Baller, bro.
You know what, Henry? I'm sorry. I just got to come back to you. Sure, I probably going to come back, but I just want to get Henry's thoughts. Like, what do you say? What do you say to that, Henry? And I'm not trying to, guys. You know me. I'm sitting on this fence. I'm 19 stone. This fence is about to fall down, right? But I got to, right? I'm looking at both sides. That's what I do. Henry, what would you say to Sam Phil? Because he's coming out with some factual comments. He's talking good. What do you say to this?
I like this guy, Sam.
I mean, the closer to 9th and 1st is obviously, at the minute. But, I think you look at the squad and would you say, we have any right to be challenging City, even with like a magnificent manager at the helm? I don't think we'd be challenging City. And obviously, LVG never finished second. Yeah, I did say that. But the point I was trying to make was that, we're sort of comparing LVG and Ollie and saying, LVG had a terrible squad. But yeah, Ollie is in a better spot than LVG was. was in the league. You know, if we go on to finish second, LBG never did that, and obviously, you know, there's a reason for that. As you say, you know, the squad Ollie's got is definitely better. But yeah, I don't think the squad is good enough to win the league. I think I think everyone should agree with that. I think
it's not. Yeah, I don't. If people think it is, then no,
it's lunacy. If anybody thinks it is, because look at that, bro. Greenwood, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Dan James,
Sterling,
Fred,
it's not the same.
Matt Thomas. You can't compare it. None of those players are getting in that Man City team.
It's not even about that, Sean. It's just about how they constantly invest. It's not even about the individuals. They just constantly invest. Every season they got a new player in it.
But sure, they can keep doing that. Yeah, we can't do that.
Ferran Torres is lined up after Mahrez, isn't it? So even
Dom, and if you asked at the start of the season, and it's the same as the start of last season when we sold Lukaku, got rid of all those players, people like we're up shit creek here. No one backed us to finish third, and it's the same this season, right? If you ask everyone at the start of the season, where are we going to finish? I'm hearing 5th, 6th. We'll be lucky to make top 4, bro. We're smashing it. That's the fact of it, man.
Sean, I think the thing is, I think football is more than empirical metrics. I think Sean, I thought I could say Sean. I think football is more empirical metrics. I think that you can say, for example, like, we're second. But even if you want to look at empirical metrics, we're on course to concede the most goals apart from 18-19 than we have ever in the Premier League. We're also out of the Carabao Cup. We're also out of the Champions League. Sean, wait. You've got to look at these things if you're going to look at it empirically. If you're going to put so much onus, this is my point. If you're going to look at empirical metrics, you have to have the same degree of onus you put on the Premier League as you do on the Champions League, Carabao Cup, because those two competitions, in and of themselves, together, have almost it's very important. So you can't say, Champions League and Carabao Cup, but then use the Premier League as a massive fundamental premise of your argument, because they're both empirical arguments.
So I'll tell you why I can.
I think on the pitch, I understand that there's issues. I do understand that there's issues with player personnel. I'm not denying that. For example, like the right wing situation, I can't really get onto if Greenwood isn't scoring because he's not a right winger. But I would only understand that if Ollie was doing like the basics right. For example, don't start McFred, just start Pogba, Manchester United. If that midfield is coached, it is a much, much better midfield. I understand the argument that Baye isn't consistent. I'm not asking Baye to start every week. I'm not saying start Baye all the time. I'm just asking to start him occasionally. Maybe save him for the big games. Maybe just do that. And the argument that Baye isn't consistent is Maguire and Lindelof. No, it's not. So I could understand the argument that we haven't got the players if Ollie was playing the right players, but he's not. And also, if you're going to have the fundamental premise of your argument of this in support of Ollie, being the fact that we're second in the league, you've also got to use the other empirical metrics by virtue of them being the same thing, that we're out of the Carabao Cup and out of the Champions League. And so far in big games, there's no indication that we aren't going to get knocked out of the FA Cup and Europa League, because big games we flop.
Cool. So Aidan, so I'll address that, right? The reason you give more credence and the reason you give more precedence to the Premier League, one, that's the foundation. It was always for Fergie. Win your league first, and then you look at the cups after. Also, that's played over a 38-game period. A cup game, you could have a good run, you could have a good draw, and it could be false, right? So in a league, everyone plays each other twice. Where you are is where you are, and that's where you deserve to be at the end of the season. If you want to go to the Carabao Cup, we got to another semi-final. Who knocked us out again? The best team in Europe. So you can't realistically expect any more, because we're not better than them. We're just not better than them. And that's why I say our best chance of winning a trophy this year is in the Europa League. Because if we come up against Man City, the way they're playing right now, I fully expect us to lose. There's a chance we could win, but ultimately, they're just a better side than us. And as much as it hurts me to say that, as much as it pains me to accept that reality, that's just a fact.
Our Leipzig are better side than us.
We're 12 points behind them. Coming up, hold on. Now let's come on to the Champions League. Okay? The Champions League group, when we looked at that group and that group came out, everybody looked at that and said, that's the group of death. We'd do well to get out of that group. The fact that Ollie got us off to such a fantastic start by going away and beating PSG and smashing Leipzig 5-1 or whatever it was at home, we were in command of that situation. And you can call it a bit of naivety. This is the part where I do agree with you. The position that we got ourselves in, I would say at the start of that group, it was a toss-up for who was going to finish second place behind PSG between ourselves and Leipzig. It was a toss-up at the start. But the position that we got ourselves into after the first 3 games, there's no way in hell that we should not have qualified. So I do agree with you with that. And Ollie does have to carry the can for the way he approached those final 2 games. In my opinion, he should have potentially done what everyone would have hated him to do, which is sat back and just play for a draw and we're through, right? Because if he did that, we would have been through. But that's a different point of view. Right. But overall, I have to say that in terms of where we are in the competitions, a semi-final in the Carabao Cup, getting knocked out by Man City, I don't think that is a catastrophe. Second place in the league, 12 points behind Man City. Yes, we're too far. But again, we're above every single other team. And then losing, the only thing I can say is the way we were knocked out of the Champions League. Again, the position that we got ourselves into. But at the start of that group, nobody can sit there and say 100% we should have got qualified. That's a group of death that we're in.
Can I just say something? Right. If you're saying that Man City, I was saying if you're saying that Man City are a better team than us, I don't think you can simply reserve it to Man City. Yeah, that Carabao final was a one-off because Sevilla didn't have a better team than us. Chelsea didn't have a better team or manager than us back then. Arguably, they didn't before the half of the window. Yeah. So I'm saying that I get what you're saying about Leipzig, but we should be smashing Leipzig with our players any day. Who have they got in midfield, bro? Probably couldn't name more than 3 Leipzig players. So I get what you're saying, yeah. But then, according to you, Aiden, they got the best coach in the world. Yeah, they've got a much better system. They've got a much better system than us. But with the players we're doing, the manager should have implemented the system by now because he's been here 2 years.
All right, guys. God, we could do this for flicking ages, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much for tuning in.
Love it, man.
Take 2 seconds just to like the video for me. Now, thank you so much. Like and subscribe. I want to get to comments because people were here. Adam, my man, argument about comparing points of different seasons would be valid in my opinion if we didn't have 2 teams going over 95 points all the time. We have 2 teams smashing the rest, which shows we ain't good enough. Chris is saying, when will we win a trophy? Trophies are the standard. Chris, I know you're saying this because listening to everybody's comments, I can't tell you categorically when we can win a trophy. Like, you know, you're doing a prediction. You're like some sort of like you're forecasting for work. You know, what's going to happen in Q3 or Q4? I could not tell you when we're going to win a trophy. And that's what I think people are a bit nervous about. We're if you look at where we are in the league, we're doing great, right? In the league, 100%. But it could change like that. It could easily, if we don't win against Crystal Palace, we're not going to be talking like this now. I'll tell you right now. And this is why Aiden's coming with this sort of view, because he doesn't see this long-term sustainability of the way we play football and that we keep going down 1-0 and having to come back up. We can't beat the top 6. We're shaky against Sheffield. We're shaky against West Brom. We can't see a clear way that we're playing. I know we like to play direct. That's our clear way of playing. But at the moment, is it right? We don't mix up our formations. We don't play the players sometimes that we think we'd be better against them. We stick to 4-2-3-1 all the time when sometimes why don't we change it? Why don't we mix it up? Why don't we bring Ahmad on just for something mixed up when we're 4-0 up? All these little things, when it's not going good, just gets accentuated and highlighted because overall, look, guys, if we're smashing it and playing good, none of us be talking about all these little cracks. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so he's saying, one question, what is our football style? Plan A, it's been 2 years. Sean will talk about that in a second. Henry, what do you think this squad needs to win the league? What do you think about that, bro?
I think, you know, the right winger thing is obviously the main thing that everyone looks at. We haven't had a natural right winger at the club since, well, probably Di Maria, I'd probably say. You know, Tony Valenti. Tony Valenti was probably a right back by the time, you know, after that sort of point. But definitely a right winger. I'd say a Matic replacement. That's assuming Pogba stays. So I'd say I really like Declan Rice. So I'd play with a Rice, Fernandes, Pogba midfield. And then probably a centre-back to pair Maguire. I think to pair with Maguire, you know, a quicker centre-back similar to the Bailly's midfield. So I'd say those are the big things, and you know, other problems may arise with depth, etc. And if Pogba goes, obviously, but those are, I'd say, the key components. Henry,
what about a striker? Because I don't think Cavani is a long-term solution, bro. I think we need and a backup right back. Need a proper striker. We need a Haaland in there, man. That I can't underestimate how big that is. I love Tony. I love Martial. But he's never the guy.
Well in this I don't think Haaland would not.
He would blitz it, bro. Haaland.
Okay, before I'm clipped, he would score lots of goals. I'm not denying.
Yes, he would. Okay.
The amount that he should, with those players around him, no, he wouldn't.
I don't think he's ready to go into a team like us. You know why Jude Bellingham went to Dortmund? It's because they've got a history of bringing in youth and playing football where they can express themselves. They don't get hounded. They're not literally flicking battered and racially abused on Twitter if they have a bad game. Who have you ever heard about getting racially abused or getting absolutely hammered by their fans? In Borussia Dortmund, it's a lovely bubble where you can play football and play your best football. Haaland chose flicking Dortmund over Manchester United for that reason. Bellingham chose Dortmund for that reason. Flicking out, we've seen players go into huge things, and we've seen the manager come out, or what's his name, flicking the agent come out and saying Haaland wants to go there, so he can actually think about his next choice and get better. I just don't. I know we need a strike.
He'd leave for Real Madrid though, bro. Did you know that?
Yeah,
he'd leave eventually. He'd leave for Real Madrid.
That's fine. That's fine. Ronaldo left. Like all the good players like that, they'll leave eventually. But for me, we need a striker like that. I don't see too many out there. Ollie's got a great relationship with him. We need to get him. We need to go all out for him. Do you know what? If they want a release clause, negotiate it. 200 mil, let him go. Or agree. We keep him for 4 seasons. Let him come and win some trophies. You bring in Haaland. You bring in Grealish. You bring in. I've changed my mind on Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice is a good player. I think someone of that ilk can come in and do a fantastic job in the defensive midfield position. And then I think you need a centre-back. The centre-back is the one I'm struggling with still, whether it's Koundé or whoever. But mate, you bring in those 4 players plus a right winger. You'll talk about winning titles.
If we did that, yeah. But this is what I'm saying. I think you think 4 players is just like that. We're going to win the Champions League the next year.
We will.
No, it's not FIFA, bro. It's not
FIFA. I'm not saying it's FIFA, but the basis of the team is already there. Aiden, the basis of the team is already there. You just need the sprinkles of quality in the key areas now to make the difference. That's what we're missing.
Go on, Henry.
No, I was just saying it's a knock-on effect. I think, if you just plug these little gaps, it will start to mold together. I know you say the face value, it's only 4 players, but that can have like a humongous impact on the team. That's all I have to say.
Because Henry, why you're saying that is because the building block of the foundations has already been set. It's not just putting 4 players in. Ollie's been building pieces, adding Bruno here, adding the pieces there. Now he needs the final bits of quality, which we can all see, Aiden. We can all see in the final third. People are saying Rashford's decision-making is not right. Martial's not scoring.
You're about to say the final third's good, but now you said it's bad 10 minutes ago.
What am I talking about? I never said the final. I'm saying the quality. Go back to the start of the stream. I said it's 2 things. Quality in the final third, and I said mentality of the players. Those are fundamental things that we need to change, and you bring in better quality and players with a better mentality. The likes of Bruno. That's what we need.
Foundation. Maguire is our foundation, bro.
Maguire, we know he's poo-poo. We know he's poo-poo.
I'm going to say this right now. I want to get to more people's comments. Alexi's saying that we aren't smashing it, though. Everyone around us is just doing rubbish. I get that. That's to you, Sean. And I don't think you can argue with that. But the people aren't playing well, and teams that should be doing well too aren't, right? This is a low-scoring season. For me, right, just on Koundé, this is how I feel. Only thing you could do, right, is watch games that he's in recently. When we get linked to someone, then we start watching him.
He hasn't been good. He hasn't been good.
The guy hasn't been amazing. I'll be honest with you, right? The way I've just been brought up playing football, the eye test for me is really important. I like to see how they run, how they bring on the ball. He looks a bit, I'm just putting it out there, he looks a bit too rigid for me. Do you know? He looks a bit like, like a silky sort of, he looks like when people play with black boots and you're like, I'm not too sure about that. You know what it is, right? For me, I'm just worried, right? We pay 60, 70 million and it becomes another Harry Maguire. And I just don't want that. I don't want this massive punt. And then everybody's saying, Koundé, yes, we can't wait for him. 2 years later, this guy is rubbish. Why do we pay 70 million? The board's rubbish. The thinking we haven't got a DOF. Why do we? We've done it so many times. So I just don't trust the board to be searching.
So Dom, who would you take? I'd
rather Varane, bro.
I don't want to stick on this too much because we got so much to get through. Buggy vibes. The squad is not good enough to win the league. There is not enough technical players in the team to give us an edge. That's what Sean said. Ollie is selecting his first 11 based on speciality and what they offer. Forgive me. Forget giving more players. Does he know some of his bench is better than the first 11 and they still go?
This is what I'm saying. McTominay and Fedor on the bench.
Bro, are you talking about Van der Beek, right? And
Well,
again,
Van
don't let
Beek's
me
not okay, bro.
don't let me go into this guy, because again,
Okay,
I found out
yeah,
another stat
Sean.
for this Donny van der Beek
man.
people.
All right, let me just.
Dom. They talk about he keeps the ball so well. His passing is fantastic. His passing accuracy is worse than Fred in the Premier League. Go and check it. Go and check it. Go and check it, man. Go check it. So no, Dom, I'm saying to you, people always talk about if we had Van der Beek, he would keep the ball so much better. The only way you keep the ball better is by passing it to your teammates, and Fred does it more accurately than Van der Beek, and that's a fact.
They're completely different players, mate. Anyway,
no, it's not about completely different players. I'm talking about their passing accuracy, Dom. Mate, which you said.
Listen to me. If you're comparing
passing accuracy,
say that what Martial's got a better goal kick than De Gea.
I'm just going. The stats are there, bro. Just go and check. You can check for yourself. It's Premier League app. Go check it.
You're better than this.
Henry's trying not to cruise. He's trying not to.
Go check it, bro. It's love it, man. But that's all for you, Donny fanboys out there. I'm just saying. We know Fred's a bad passer, but the stats apparently I checked it. I was surprised.
Okay,
anyway. He's got better stats.
Okay, Sean. Okay.
Being in second place is a false position.
No comeback.
Adam, you figure out the way you want to play, then you pick the players, not the other way around.
Yeah.
If you want to play possession-based football, you can't have Rice or younger matches. They don't fill that profile. This is the thing, though. What football do we want to play?
Again, this is where people don't listen stats. Rice passes the ball very well.
Yeah,
go and check the stats. I checked them before this stream. 88% passing accuracy.
Matic and Rice are quite good. Like, I think Rice is a better long pass.
Matic 91% passing accuracy. That's Man City levels. Yeah, that's Man City levels. So, Adam, go check your stats and come back to the show, bro.
Haaland would struggle on average. Cavani gets 2 touches. Martial 9. Our system isn't a striker. Teams don't play a high line. Dortmund's perfect. This is what I'm saying. People are thinking Haaland will come into his team and smash it.
He'd score goals, but he won't score.
I don't think we're set up. It's like putting Haaland in a Mini Cooper. I don't know if people know what a Mini Cooper is. It's the smallest car in the world, right? Don't put it in a Mini Cooper.
In a smart car, bro.
We need a massive limo Hummer for Haaland, because at the moment we're playing like a lemon school bus. And there's nothing wrong with that. We can improve, but we're not ready for a player like Haaland. I'll just be honest with you, because we need to figure out how to play football in a good way, in a better way, in a more sustainable way.
Can you ask Sam? Sam, can you elaborate on that? Because it's an interesting point that you raise. Give a bit more context around the system and why you think it's not suited to him.
Yeah, Sam, that'd be great, because me and Sean had a long thing about, what do you mean by better football? I'm like, mate, you honestly, ain't nobody got time for that. You know what, right? Henry, we've got a big game coming up at Crystal Palace, and we have to win. There's no doubt about it. We have to win this game. I don't want to hear any excuses, any stats, or fine margins, all this nonsense. We haven't got time for it. We haven't got time for it. If we lose this game, all the things that Sean's been saying about we're second, and you mentioned that, we're second, we are under threat, and top 4 becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Are we going to win this game, Henry? And I know that's the hardest question, because Manchester United, what's going to happen. But what's your thoughts, man? And how can we win this game?
Play well, put the ball in the back of the net. No, I don't know. It's hard to say, exactly what we need to do to win the game. You'd expect us to win a game like this, wouldn't you? And obviously when results like this are going to keep going against you, you're going to have to start questioning things. But teams, you can pull up results. Even City haven't been flawless this season. Obviously, they had a terrible start, but you'd expect. We can't keep dropping points, and this is a game. Obviously, we've got to win.
Yeah, you know what, right? I'm nervous. I'm massively nervous, because I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know who's going to turn up. I don't know what Bruno we're going to get, because I love the Bruno who plays it simple, does good balls, and does it. I'm like, yes, that's my Bruno. I love the Rashford who's, he runs into brick walls, but he's still committing defenders and opening space.
Yeah.
The AWB who actually people think he can't pass, and he doesn't look great in the ball, but he actually beats a man. He's quite confident in the way he can keep the ball. I like that guy. I like Maguire when he's not taking 17 touches, like thinking, I don't know, trying to flicking do like mold playing. When you do mold playing, he's touching all the ball, like thinking, I don't know what he's doing. Just play it out and flicking get your head in it in the box. I don't mind all that. But for me, the situation that we're in is we don't know what team's going to turn up. And if we lose, Sean, don't come at me like, oh, Dom, it's all right, man. We can win the next game, man.
Nah, it's not all right. Nah, Dom, it's not all right. I'll say it right now. We can't lose on Wednesday.
good.
I don't expect us to lose on Wednesday. It's not
if
acceptable
we
to lose on
lost-
Wednesday.
If we lost, what would the table be like? Because I haven't actually had a look. I think Chelsea are actually like.
I think we'll still be second because Leicester. It depends on what Leicester do, right?
So if I'll tell you. So
Leicester
we
are
on
1 point
we're on
behind us.
50 points. Leicester are 1 point behind us. West Ham are 5. Chelsea is 6. So it would close the gap a lot. Leicester would come above us. And it would also be a loss going into Man City and double Milan.
No, we're not losing Wednesday. Forget that. That's not
I
happening.
don't think we'll lose, bro. I don't think we'll lose.
We're not.
In the comments as well, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new. Comments, let me know your prediction and first goal scorer. If anybody gets it bang on, we'll get you on in the streams coming up for our next preview match. It'd be good to get your view. So whoever can get the first goal scorer right and the correct score prediction, come on the show and we'll have some jokes. Sean, what is your score prediction and first goal scorer? Let me know.
So I'm gonna go with my boy Mason. He hasn't scored in a little while, but he looked good. For me, he was one of our better players before he got subbed off on against Chelsea yesterday, and he started up front. It was nice to see him in that number 9 position where we think he's going to end up. And for me, he did really well. So I feel like hopefully that will give Tony a kick up the backside. He's got to fight for his place. So yeah, hopefully Ollie starts him again. If it was me, I would keep it going, build on that performance,
and the score,
Mason to get a goal. 3-1.
3-1. All right, Aiden, the score and first goal scorer,
man. Is everyone back? Bar Pogba.
Donny is
Cavani. I don't think he's make it.
Cavani's a doubt.
Right. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. To be honest, I can't lie. I think it'll be 2-0. Rashford and Bruno, or Rashford and Martial, Rashford and Bruno.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
2-0. Okay. Henry, what are you saying, man?
I reckon 2-0 as well. I think Rashford will definitely get a goal. He's been off the ball for a couple of games.
That's Crystal Palace.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'll go Rashford brace 2-0 United.
You know what? We're all very confident, and I love it. We got to be, but let's not underestimate Crystal Palace because
where are Palace, bro?
You know what?
They can't score a goal to say they're bloody lives.
There is no point saying where they are. If we play Sheffield United and thinking West Brom, you know what I mean? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like we played them, and you're thinking lost anyway. Yes, Manny, what's going on, my brother?
Yes, Manny.
Big up, Manny.
You know what, right? This has been such a good show. Like I've loved interacting with everybody, like getting their thoughts. We've a couple of new faces as well. Sam, you've been awesome. Flicking Siesh and all these guys. Els in the building. Manny, we've seen Danny, the Devil in the Details as well, come in there. We appreciate you. Do you want to just say where they can find you guys? Sean?
Yeah, hit me up. Twitter, Grow Football. You know where I'm at. Not on there loads, but when I am, we make noise. We make noise.
Aiden?
Yeah, United Aiden. As I always say, if you want to hear me waffle and hear some propaganda, follow me.
Yeah, and a big thanks to Henry as well for coming on. Henry, mate, I appreciate it.
Yeah, big up Henry.
That's all right. Thanks for having me, lads. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And we can find you at United Henry on Twitter. At
United Henry, and then the United District podcast as well, which we've doing intermittently as well. So yeah, cheers, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going for a 3-1 United because I can't take any heartache anymore. I just can't do it. I don't want to do it. It's a pandemic and I need to be happy. So whatever's. Guys, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new. We appreciate you. We'll be back for the map reaction after the Wednesday game, straight after at full time. Be square. Please be there. We need you there. Peace.